fly on the wall there, Mr. Birn. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
Well, what's going on with the Department of Administration?
We're just doing our job here. Our job is week by week keep the government going, and all the people here know that's their duty, know that that's what's expected of them. So that's what we do.
Oh, there's a little bit of a tizzy over the Guam Fire Department and the overtime payments.
Hazardous pay.
Right.
Yes, well, you probably need to speak to Guam Fire Department about that. But the information that I got last Friday shows we've made a big improvement in the overtime submissions that have come from these agencies. As a result of all the discussion, and maybe you can take some credit for this, we're going to make some, and I sent out a memo about 2 weeks ago, we're going to make efforts to make sure that we have overtime reported at the same time as the regular time. So it should no longer, this is going to be in the new calendar year, 2020, 2021. So we're trying to make sure that it's no longer an issue by having it reported at the same time as the regular time, which is the practice in most places.
Are you aware, is it just GFD that's having payment issues with overtime or hazardous pay?
You know, so long as departments, and I lost my sheets that I was looking at that had the statistics, but so long as departments don't report it contemporaneously, then there will be an issue because you've lost the impetus to pay it. But I don't see any seriously delinquent overtime in the report that I got for the payments that were made by Friday. So, you know, all the efforts we've been making, and I'm glad for the people that are working this overtime, because I know some people are working pretty long hours. I'm glad that we're catching up with this process and making sure that they're appropriately compensated for the overtime they work.
When you say overtime, is that inclusive of like hazardous pay?
That's reported separately and will continue to be reported separately. But again, I don't see any department that's really, I don't know, grossly overdue in their hazard pay reporting.
Mm-hmm. But there are
overtime is for certainly for non-exempt people is governed by certain federal laws. So there are laws that tell us how much we should pay and when we should pay it. Differential pay is governed by the executive order, and you know, we're doing our best to comply with that executive order, but we do rely upon departments to tell us, because we don't know here who is entitled to the differential pay until the departments advise us of each individual's exposure.
Mm-hmm. Can we move into the bereavement payments?
Yes.
How many have been paid out so far?
We've received 65 claims as of yesterday, and unfortunately, the death toll has been much higher than that in the last few days. But it'll take some time to catch up with that, and you know, we extend our sympathy to those who have lost loved ones. So we've received 65. We've paid out 54. We've got 3 that are going to be paid out today. And we have 4 that were disapproved and 4 that are pending.
Why would the 4 be disapproved?
I'm sorry, but I didn't catch that.
The 4 you said were disapproved. What were the reasons why?
Yes, the bereavement pay is accustomed to compensate people who have lost a loved one due to or connected with the COVID-19 virus. Unfortunately, other people lose loved ones for other reasons, but we are not permitted to pay out this bereavement payment to people who are not entitled to it because they succumb to some other illness or condition.
Would this be considered like a fraud? Or?
Well, I thought you might ask me that. I don't really consider it fraud, because sometimes these things, this is a very difficult time for people, and it's not a continuing issue. Unfortunately, it's a single event issue. So I would be very reluctant to call it fraud. I just think that some people, maybe in their very difficult circumstances, feel that they should make this claim. But unfortunately, those very few people were not determined not to be entitled to it.
Okay. Are you also cutting the checks for the GITA program?
Yes, we cut the checks. They present the conclusions of their review to us. They give us a list and we cut the checks.
And how many checks have you cut?
We're up to about, I think we're over 14 million. I couldn't tell you the number of checks, but we're something over 14 million. And we generally get 2 or 3 very small batches from GITA in the last few weeks. The first batches were pretty big. The last few batches have been pretty small. So it doesn't take us long to process those. I mean, the last batch had one payment in it. So I can only assume that that program is winding down, and that we've reached the limit of the amount that we're going to pay out.
Right, and this is for the tier 2, tier 1 clinics. Is that correct?
No. This is for the businesses that are suffering a reduction in their. It's kind of like business interruption, a reduction in their activity as a result of the closures occasioned by the coronavirus. Okay. The tier 2 clinics, that program is just started, and I got the first batch at about 6:30 this morning, and I haven't had the opportunity to look at it.
Okay, and that's the first batch for payment.
Yes, right. That's correct.
Okay, and you can't tell us like how many.
No, just by eyeballing, I didn't have time to look at it before I logged on to you, but it looks like about 7 or 8.
Okay. And where's the funding? What's the funding source for the bereavement payments and these tier 2, tier 1 clinics?
Both payments come from the coronavirus relief funds.
Okay, the CARES Act.
As you know, those funds were a one-off payment. We have to pay out everything by December 30th. We're all working pretty hard to do that. The bereavement payment, we started off with a budget of 750,000, but unfortunately we had to increase it to $1 million because of the number of fatalities we've had, and we're obviously going to have to increase it again because I think we just had the 100th fatality being reported last night. So we'll take a look at it, and obviously we're going to increase the amount that is going to be budgeted for this payment.
I do have just a couple more questions, but we have to cut out of our television broadcast because we are running up at the top of the
Stand
hour.
by. It's 8:02. We're KUAM FM in Hagåtña, Guam. To our viewers on KUAM TV, a lot of great programming coming up. But you can continue this interview and the show with the link on the breeze by jumping over to our KUAM News Facebook.